Joining us now are two longtime members of the Lumen Christi hockey family, a half a century of hockey parenting and fandom, Mike and Kathy Lafir.
Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bart.
Good to
Andy, nice to see you.
Good to see you both.
Thanks for inviting us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys were honored on Saturday night at the, well, actually it was a very special game. It was Lumen Christi versus,
Northville.
and what's the significance of
Well,
Northville?
our youngest grandson is a senior there, and this was his last game for the season, and it was set up to be here in Jackson. So we had the opportunity of our last grandson playing in the Jackson Optimus Arena on Saturday.
Is this the only game that you guys have ever watched where you rooted for a team that wasn't Lumen?
Rooted for a team that was, yes.
It was very tough.
Yeah.
It was very tough. We had to sit close to this red line.
Red
Yeah.
line.
Hockey's obviously brought a ton of memories through you guys, to you and your family. 3 sons, 4 grandchildren have played. How did you get involved?
Actually,
5. Yeah, 5.
4 that played for Lumen.
4 played for Lumen.
And, our grandson.
This is crazy. And everyone wore number 8. What was the significance of number 8, Kathy? Do you remember?
Other than Stephen started it.
Yeah.
He was the first.
That's how it goes in families, right?
So
Yeah.
he was the first, and then when Stephen graduated, Sean was coming up, another, 3 years, so Stephen was able to get that 8. One time they were both playing at the same time, so Stephen was 8 and Sean was 16.
Steve and Sean never played together.
Well, then it was Stephen and
the grandsons.
Okay.
It was the grandson.
Timmy and Robbie. So I think it was Timmy that was the first one to have number 16. 16. And
So
of course,
he-
I asked Timmy, how'd you pick 16? Well, 16, I'm twice as good
Twice
as
as
number
Twice
8.
as
good.
good as
Twice
your
as good
brother.
as number 8. Do you remember how you first got involved with hockey in Jackson?
Yes, I do, and it really is sort of a tragedy. This is 1972, and I'm working at Eaton Aeroquip, or Aeroquip at the time. We're very close friends, had a couple boys in hockey. There was a tragic fire that week in June of that year, and he lost his wife and 2 sons. The community put together a fund for the family, and it was Dave Banner. I don't know if you know the name, but Dave wanted to do something for the hockey community, and they started a fund, and he asked me to be a trustee. At this time, I wasn't involved in hockey at all. I knew, what hockey was about, but never played hockey. The Jackson Optimus was just started when I was growing up. We didn't have artificial ice. So anyway, my son is 3.5 years old at the time, Steve, the oldest. So I was going to the ice arena because we were administering funds to people that needed support in terms of ice fees or what have you. So I gradually was exposed to the game of hockey. So when Steve turned 5 years of age is when I signed him, much to the chagrin of my wife.
You have all these boys playing this violent sport. What was your first reaction?
At that time, so I'm over to a neighbor's, the Ballmans, and they had 3 kids in hockey, and she's saying, you ought to get Stephen involved. And I'm saying, no way. Only thing I knew about hockey was what I watched on TV with the professionals.
Yeah.
Mike came home that night and said, guess what? I signed Stephen up for hockey. But then I got involved, and I obviously liked it and got very involved. I was a team manager and learned I had to take stats, and I had to do the pluses and minuses. And
You probably know how to get the smell out of hockey dudes.
How do you? If you don't know my nephew, we can't get the smell out of his stuff. But you're obviously glad your husband signed Steve up for hockey, because look at all these memories.
Look at all the memories.
Yeah.
And we were thinking about some of the memories, and some of them are just, we still laugh.
Yeah, right.
With
A lot of great memories.
Kip's team. They didn't have a goalie.
Yeah.
They didn't have a goalie. So Tarko Day, that would be Faye's
Oh, yes.
son. He very graciously volunteered to be the goalie. He didn't tell his parents, and he had to be on the ice at 6 o'clock. Didn't he have to be on the ice at 6? So he told his folks, the way I understand it, he was going to a science club, and they met early at Lumen. And I'm not sure, we'd have to ask Faye, how did she find out, but.
Well, she ended up giving way, of course, because Rami was one of her sons, a good hockey player. So, but yeah, a lot of good memories.
Yeah.
If what have you gotten out of this in return, Mike?
A lot of great memories. Again, I got involved in doing some coaching myself. I was on the board at Jaha, so was Kathleen here. And so as the boys grew and they got to a certain level, I backed away. And obviously as they got into the upper levels, some of them played AAA hockey, and then we, they were in high school, and just fantastic memories. And I did a lot of, before JTV, I was doing a lot of videotaping of the games, etc. And I want to commend you guys on the fantastic jobs you guys do in terms of covering sports and what you're doing now with live production. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
really
it's pretty cool. Thank you. This is cool here.
That was an after party given to us.
So tell us about the double bubble. I showed you. I actually have a piece of double bubble in my pocket that you gave me. You've given me probably 30 of these over the years, but every time I see you at the hockey, I've had this one for about 7 years, so I keep it for good luck.
Well, that's why I brought some fresh ones.
I got some fresh ones. How did it start? How did the double bubble start?
Well, again, going back to the 70 era, I think it was 1976. There was an advertisement being broadcasted during the winter months, basically a hockey season, if you will. There's a young goalie walking down the hallway, coming out of the locker room. He's got his pads over his jersey, and he had lost the game. Apparently it was a bad goal. And his dad reaches over and gives him a lifesaver and says, "Son, here, maybe this will cheer you up." And they walk a little further, and they're having a little conversation, and the father replies back to the son, "When I had a bad game, it took me a whole roll of lifesavers to get over it." So I thought that was kind of a neat deal. And again, like I say, I was doing some coaching, but the issue there was they had lost the game. So I'm saying, hey, we need to have an incentive to try to get the kids to win a game. So that's when I started the bubble gun. So when they would win a game, I would give the team a bubble gum and just mushroom from there. So I started doing it for all my kids, then the grandkids, and it became such a known issue that today when I go into the rink, the referees want gum. Anybody that I see, they're always asking me, "You got any bubble gum?" So it's just, and that same thing transitioned to the Northfield team.
Oh, cool.
And then some of the boys played football as well. And after the football game, I'd give the players that were hockey players gum, and all of a sudden all the football players want it. So Herb Brogan's always looking for me after the game too. So he's keeping an apple supply going. So
all the kids wore number 8.
Yes.
Any significance to that number?
Well, just like Kathleen said, Steve started out at number 8, and all of them have had the number 8.
They all wanted to have their brothers, and then it was a tradition, so by the time the grandkids came along, they wanted number 8.
Nice. Now, listen to these stats. A Lafir family, Lumen Christi hockey stats, 21 years, 484 games, 208 goals, 289 assists.
Yeah, actually it's 40. It's 21 years of our sons playing.
Oh, yeah.
Then the grandsons came along, and so how I added that up is Steven starts at 5, plays till he's 18, so that's 13 years. Well, Sean's coming along 3 years later. We're not done yet, so there's another 3 years. But then Kip's coming along. We're not done yet with Lumen, so that's 5 more years. So you add all that up, that came to 21. Then we had like a 10-year hiatus, I call it. When you've done something for 21 years, you got a habit going.
Yeah.
Every Saturday, we were always going to Lumen Christi. So then we just started to, what were we going to do on the weekends? Well, Lumen's got a game. Well, good. Let's go there.
But we had a lot of relatives that
we did.
I'll take claim for starting the hockey in terms of the Lafir family, if you will, within there were a lot of other Lafirs that
For
came
sure.
along.
So,
The Chase boys, and we'll even take some credit for the Divine boys. Okay, they were neighbors.
they were neighbors, but,
So we
Yeah.
followed hockey, and
so by the time the grandchildren though came along, then Robbie's the first one, that's 13, but then they were like, then one more year and one more year, or 3 more years, so that added up to 19.
Was it
Yeah,
easier
the
watching your own
1921.
children or your grandchildren? What did you enjoy most?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. You enjoyed it.
It was probably more
but-
stressful watching your own kids.
Well, you know that you always, yeah, maybe you're right, because when I remember some of the things that I remember from our kids, it was somebody's hurt or, you know, I tell that story about.
I think Christi,
Turn.
Lefere, our daughter-in-law, made a comment to the fact that there had been some downtimes.
Downtimes,
In
yes.
terms of broken collarbones,
Sure.
losing
Yep.
teeth.
That was Robbie.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Part of hockey though.
It's hockey,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But he turned out to be a model.
He could be.
Now,
Right,
here's
could
another
be.
stat. How many years have you been at Eaton Air-Equip?
Well, this May it'll be 60 years.
60 years?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
I'll also make another comment that if we make it to August 8th of this year, the two of us will have been together for 60 years too.
Oh, well,
Married 60
coming
years,
up.
yeah.
We'll
Married 60
celebrate
years.
that
Yeah.
in August for sure.
Thanks for coming in and
Yep.
congratulations
Well,
on
Thank you,
Bart.
guys.
And
Yeah,
again,
well, thank you.
We've enjoyed JTV. You guys do a fantastic job.
Thank you so
You do.
much.
Mike and Kathy Lafir with us here celebrating all those years of hockey at Lumen Christi. That's it for us. We'll be back this afternoon at 1. See you then.